All right, welcome everyone that tuned in. I'm just gonna go over the basic price action today that we took, and kind of give you guys an overview of what is to expect from today. And so basically, we had look. If we go to let's go to ES, the ES here, right? So we saw basically, let's go to the 24-hour chart here. Right, today we finally broke towards all-time highs here on the ES, and we did push really high and broke it during our trading session here. So if you witnessed that, congrats to you. So let's kind of go over SPY right now and give you guys kind of what we saw today. So right now we were basically in a range yesterday, right? We were basically stuck in this range here, right? So we didn't move out of this range literally towards end of day, and so let's get fast forward here, right? And so we during pre-market, right, we did break to the all-time highs here, and with that being said, so basically that tells us that this is now a trending day, so it's no longer inside of the previous day's range. So you see here, this is the previous day's high, and then this was the previous day's low, right? The yellow indicated the previous day high, previous day low, right? So as we fast forward here, um so we continue lower during the pre-market hours. So what we saw here, right, was okay, we were in this area of range from yesterday, right? And after a strong continuation higher, we were stuck in this range, in this basically this box here, right? If you can see here, we weren't able to break above it until the after hour and then the pre-market higher. So what does this tells what this tells me as a trader is, okay, we broke out, right? And now let's see if basically buyers can retest that low, right? So, and this is what we basically during 7:30 in the morning pre-market hours, we broke towards all-time high, right, at 501.08 for SPY, right? And we did have this gap here at the 498.13. So keep that in mind as well. So let's fast forward here on the chart, right? Instantly filled at this demand, right? We saw this fill. You literally tapped into this previous supply, right? One rejection, right? Let me show you guys one rejection here, one rejection here, right? This tells us this is an area of supply, right? So you have multiple rejections here, signifying that there's potential buyers. So basically, you had basically resistance in this area every time, right? And we finally broke above resistance now, right? And then now we retest that resistance here. So now we watch whether this holds or not, right? You don't want to basically enter calls at the bottom of this, right? So what we watch for is, let's go down to the 1 minute time frame, which we looked at today. So during market open, right? Literally at market open, you had a push lower, and then we broke that low here, and look. So we alerted calls. We saw that it was okay. Price came high, right? Price pushed higher, right? And when you come down, you see this low, right? Would you want to short here? No. Would you want to would you want to short basically SPY at this low, right? We're touching demand here. So now this is now not supply, it's new demand, right? You don't want to short. I personally wouldn't short here. Why? Because okay, you have you have a stop. So let's say the sellers came in here, right? Seller came here. Where are their stop? Their stop is here, right? And what's their target? Like trying to push towards this low, like to this, right? I mean, this is nice risk to reward. As soon as, or you can say your stop loss is here. Like, I mean, you're not gonna get any better the next swing high on the short side is up here. Like you're not gonna get a good risk to reward trying to short, right? And this is a really wide setup where like if you were trying to short here, this is not a probable setup. So we wait till the candles play out in the 1 minute, right? And you see here, this is so now buyers are here, right? Buyers are here, right? And let's say, you have, your failure set up and you want to retest this high, right? Look at the setup here. This is, 24.7 times risk to one risk to reward, which is crazy. And it's, if you were to take that, that's pretty nice. So right here, right? Would you enter into a position here? Me personally, no. Why? So you did have a rejection here, and you see several times sellers try to take price lower, and what we wait for is a confirmation candle here. And what do I mean by a confirmation candle? I wait for this setup here, break lower, right? Continue higher, wait for it, bing, bing. So until this high is broke, right? And we look on the 3 minute, right? This that high was broken. So now, so you wait for this high to develop, bang, right? This high was broken. Now, so once this high is broken, right? This high is now basically it formed a low, higher low, a high, higher low, higher high, right? Once you make a higher high in price, right? Now, where was the sellers at? So you think the sellers here, you think they're still holding those puts here? Most likely not, right? So now, if we draw this trend line, right? This is where those shorts were. So you see here, this area was where the short seller was, right? Keep that in mind, right? So you have a higher high in price, and let's mark this candle here so you guys can see the setup, right? Now you have a higher high in price. Now, patience, right? Patience was what pays for this type of setup. Patience. Now, would you take calls here? Let me ask you, would you take calls here? Bang. This is a trap setup. This is where we took calls this morning. We took calls here because you have a higher high in price. And basically, this is a bear trap, right? Because they want you to short. They want you to short this because they see you're looking at the 1 minute and you're like, oh, damn, this is crazy. Like, seller in control here, right? You think everyone thinks seller's in control. But look, you think the sellers here that stepped in this candle here is still holding those puts? Highly not, right? Because look, after this candle break, squeeze, right? They're already out of their puts. So we alerted those calls here at somewhere around this candle and our stop loss at this low, right? And we're targeting 500. Like I said earlier today, I was targeting 500 the whole day, and I wanted to break 500. And we did break over 500, and it's fine. We did hold them for a nice 100%. So bang, off of this candle, bang, 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 and bang, right? And it did go higher here. So so look at the risk to reward on this, right? Look at that. That's already 2.34%. You want to, that's a pretty nice setup, right? Alone, this setup here guaranteed it, a nice 60. It was like 50% banger off of just 5 candles, right? This was a nice setup. This was a beautiful setup. If you guys took this, literally 50% in 5 minutes. I did take some off on this too. I ain't gonna lie to you, right? So this is this is what I want you guys to do. You have a higher high in price, right? And you have this area where they're trying to stop you right here for the short side. We took it here, right? This candle, beautiful setup, and they, as soon as this, right, you break above this VWAP here, right? Squeeze. Whoever short here squeezed out already off the rip. And this was a beautiful setup. If you guys are watching, be sure to look up basically a similar structure. Like if you go to like several charts and look up something similar to this, you want a higher high in price. So basically, this high is no longer the high, and this high is higher than that high right here, right? And you make a low, right? So this was a setup that we took, and let's keep fast forwarding. Bing, bing, and look right here. So this trade still profitable, right? So now let's move those stops here, right? Chop. You don't want to. You're already up on the trade. You don't want to get profits back. Just move it up to the nearest swing low. So this was a stop. Now this is your new stop. So let the price play out, right? And it was choppy all day until like towards the end of the day, and the net price never broke below our stop. So you what you can do is you can move your stops up here to this low and just keep moving it up. So once price breaks below a target, then you close out position. But alone, look at this setup. The setup is like crazy. Like you're not in the red. We enter calls literally at the bottom of the chart, right? And no shape or form they're telling us to get out of those puts. I mean those calls. So here, right? This alone right here already was a beautiful setup, right? And then you have your morning push lower, now back down somewhere, bang, right? You see price never went down. Now, see here, we enter here, strong candle down, right? Now, this would have probably scared the freak out of everybody, right? So, this is now what we watch, right? So, let's look here. What do you see, right? Let me move that aside here. Actually, let me delete this here. Actually, let's copy this and delete that so I can use a better tool so you guys can see what I called out here, right? 50 basically in 50% in 5 minutes, right? That's literally a 1 minute candle, or let's say, okay, 7 minutes to be exact. Okay, let's say 8 minutes to be exact. 8 minutes, right? Now, this is what I want you to see, right? So you have, okay, I want you to look at the setup and you will see what I see. You see here basically a high right here. Let's look at this here, right? Do you see this, right? What do I see here? Okay, you have a push higher, right? And you grinding up, grinding up, grinding up, grinding up, right? That tells us that price, buyers in control, right? You see this, buyers are in control of this. Now, how do we play this setup, right? So now we copy this trend line here, right? You draw off this low and extend it. So let's extend that and look here. Let me get that to be exact here. So we draw here off of this low, right? All right, now if you're wondering, let me ask you, would you take calls here? Would you take calls here? Most likely, probably 30% of people would say, heck no, why would you want to take calls here, right? All right, let's fast forward. Push, right? Now, would you like to take calls here? Right? I mean, probably like 80% of you will say no. I would take calls here, right? Because you are pushing near the basically the swing low here, right? This channel is, let's say if we extend this out here, out more, okay, and then just copy and move this trend line down here, right? Okay, it's below the swing. It's basically below, right? Everybody's like, oh no, we're not taking that, right? So let's say you added some, right? Push, push. Okay, now what do we see here? You see a push higher, sellers try to, short back down, and you have a two try failure from them. So you have a two try failure and squeeze. So now price is moving back up, right? Now, where are we gonna likely to see sellers, right? That's where everybody's wondering. That's the $1 million question, right? This is where you're going to see sellers. Sellers here. You can see some sellers here, right? You're going to see some sellers here. This is where all the sellers are going to be. So, with that being said here, let me get at this a little bit better here. Right? Seller is going to be in this area. Right? This is where sellers are going to be at. So, just keep that in mind. We're going to see sellers in this area here. Right? This is all the sellers. So, now you have to look at this and say, okay, with sellers here, are we going to buy calls? Are we going to buy puts? Or what are we going to do now? Okay, so let's see. Fast forward. We were stuck in this range, right? We were stuck in here. If I were to ask you, if you were to take this trade, would you enter calls here or would you enter put? Most likely 80% of you guys would have said enter put, right? Because it's like literally stuck in this chop for the past like 6 minutes. Like literally price was stuck in at 499.73 for the last 7 minutes, right? Me, sit on those hands. Don't take that. Push, right? Yeah, you could have took calls here. Those have been nice setup. Yeah. But what if it went lower? That's not a good setup, right? Now you're pushing against previous day's high here, um, which is yesterday's high. Oh no, this is not yesterday's high. This is basically the rejection right here. So you see supply here at this zone, right? Now you're squeezing above the supply, but will we break it, right? That's the $1 million question. Reject, lower. So now this is the $1 million question, right? So let's go to the 3-minute, right? This is a strong move lower, right? You have a strong move lower off of that candle. Now we made a high, right? This is our low. This is our high. This is now our low here, and this is our high, right? And we have a higher high in price, right? We have a higher high in price. And now let's play this candle. Bing, right? Would you take this or no? No? I would have took some calls here. Why is that? My stops are here. So you enter calls here, right? This is another trap setup here, guys. Stop loss at this, let's say this candle here to ensure safety wise, right? Bing, bing, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Everybody's wondering, would I have closed this position? Until the candle breaks, if this candle right here, right, this candle doesn't break lower than our stop loss, doesn't close, the candle close does not close under our stop loss. Therefore, I am still in this trade. Right? Boom, 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 boom. Squeezing, 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 and here we rip. Right? So now you see this area is acting as a serious area of, supply, right? Everyone's like, oh yeah, this is a supply zone. This is literally a supply zone. Like literally. We don't want to enter calls here. We want to enter the calls on the bottom of the supply because it's better that way. You don't want to buy the top of the where you're entering, and then it's going to shorten you. Need the worst risk reward, and it squeezes, literally rips higher, right? It breaks above this demand supply, right? And now you're literally chopping, re-enter this previous supply for demand, right? And then let's see if we rip higher, rip, push, and a new high day. New high day at the 50, well, 537, which is during our trading hours. So this was the trap setup. This is the same setup as what we see here. You have a higher high in price, a rejection lower, right? This candle is still valid. They never closed. So you go to a 3-minute, right? This candle never closed before it. that rejection candle did not literally poked it. It didn't break this low, right? So therefore it's a trap setup. This is a bear trap setup. So that's an this is what we're going to be looking for when we trade. We trade traps. We love the traps. It's easy money in the market for us. So and price continues higher. If you held these and these calls, they ran over 200+% with like massive push towards end of day, and we rallied. Right, we hit literally 501, and we broke above pre-market highs. And let's fast forward, and we squeeze here, bang, 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 and let's just go to 3 minutes a little faster that way, right? Don't enter. Don't exit the position unless you know you're. This is where we scale some out at 200%, and we didn't touch it after that. Literally now, right? Beautiful setup, right? This is a beautiful setup, right? So now what we're looking for nowadays is this is what I'm looking for if we approach next week, right? I want to see something like so let's see if I would like to see if buyers are able to hold this. Let's go to the 4 hour here, right? So you see the candles are looking quite bullish, right? You have some type of structure here on some type of structure in this area. So we had a breakout, push higher, right? And we want to see there's a dark pool order at 483.08. So this tells us that there's strong buyers here at this level. So we made a new all-time high. We made a new all-time high at the 501.65. So that's our new high that we formed today. And this is what I will look towards next week. So if you would like to trade alongside us, get some more thesis and ideas, then you guys are more than welcome to join our Discord group. Um, I will post over the trade recap from Tesla here in a short bit. So let's go over here, Tesla. Right, this is a really tough. This was a really tough trade today, and let's kind of go over it here. It was really crazy, and glad thing that I was able to enter into. So let's go here. So this morning I saw a strong move higher, right? And um, I entered calls around somewhere around like this area here. It was like so I entered calls around somewhere here. It was somewhere here, right? I entered calls somewhere here with a stop below this candle here, and this trade alone was already a 50% win. Like literally, the scalp was 15%, but wasn't able to get out of the position in time, and literally averaged down every single time, right? And reason why I added some on this candle here, I literally added some on these candles here, was okay. I see a shift in momentum, right? You see a strong rejection lower here, and buyers tried once here, and we see here, right? This is where we added on this candle here. We added a lot around this candle here, and we added some around this green candle. And I did mention around this time we saw a higher high in price, and they tried to stop us out here. And this was an area of supply, right? We reject this here and continue lower. And this area during pre-market was an area of demand. So this was an area of demand where we saw buyers, intensive buyers, during the pre-market hours. And basically this showed me that we could potentially see a bounce here, right? And you had a retest of demand, push higher, right? And now when we push higher here, right? Um, we had a, you know, a bear trap forming up in here, or you have a higher in price, a break chart, they tap lower here, and we did add some here, and boom, this literally ran over like 100 something percent, and oh dang, it literally ran higher. But we didn't hold them all the way. We scaled a chunk out like somewhere around here, right? We scaled a lot of them out here, and just didn't want to get caught up in this trade. Oh, it was right here. We scaled a good chunk out, and didn't want to hold anything around this time because I saw intensive weakness here at this level, at this supply, and I just didn't want to get lower here. And we're approaching like kind of like towards 12 o'clock, and I didn't want to get stuck in this position if it were to continue lower, right? And we saw some type of of ascending triangle break lower, retest demand. I mean, previous supply, which was now demand, and nice bounce here. Retest demand again, retest demand with another bear trap set up here. You see here on the shorter time frame, right? You see a higher high in price. This is literally textbook setup. Literally textbook setup, right? You have a higher high in price, and um, sellers weren't able to, you know, break lower, and this squeeze, right? You saw the squeeze here, right? So leading into next week, this was a beautiful setup. These contracts, the SPY contracts ran over 200 something percent, and these ran over 110%. Yeah, guys, we sit in the market and we wait for potential great bullish momentum to trade out, and we just wait, right? And somebody in my group named CC Marks was wondering um, why we don't trade like these candles on the day of, right? Whenever we trade candles like these on the day of, right? Um, what I want to keep you guys informed about is after a strong move higher, right? Look, see, strong move, right? Candles are not breaking, they don't move higher. Like stocks can't move higher every day. Like you're not gonna get a rip higher like this, right? You see a consolidation period and then a move higher, right? Stocks tend to have consolidation periods. So what I mean by consolidation period, this is a consolidation period. If you see this yellow bar, we're inside of this range from yesterday, Thursday's trading day, and basically yesterday, Thursday's high and Thursday's low, right? We're still in it. So what's this telling me? If price doesn't break out of this high or this low, whoever is taking trades in this zone are getting literally option decay. You don't want to get stuck in this, right? One thing to keep in mind is when you see a candle that's stuck in the range like this from the day of, or the high, or you can say we mark up the pre-market high and pre-market low. Okay, so this is the pre-market low and this is the pre-market high. You're literally stuck in the middle of that, right? When we're trading in the range, like, so what I mean by trading in the range, right? You literally want to basically trade price like this: short this, enter call, short this, enter call here, short this, enter call here, short this, right? You want to trade like this. So you're like you want to trade in this. So you buy calls here, you short up here, sell some up here, come down, buy calls again, short up here. Once it goes here, take all your profit out, short back down. It's literally what you want to do. You do not want to enter like buy like a far out the money contract at like 110, right? This is not gonna hit 110. Or you can buy 110 if you want. You don't want to buy like 105 put. We're not going to break below 105 or break above 112. It's not possible. You don't want to do that, right? You want to trade in the range. So you trade small. In these days, you trade smaller. You want to trade small. You don't want to go too crazy on the account. If it's a range day, you trade small. and it's hard to determine that. Really, it's really hard. You have to wait patiently for a setup to present itself. Like CC Marks, she showed me this today. She said, "Is this a bullish setup or a bearish setup?" And the fact that she saw the setup was already pretty impressive, in my opinion. Like, she asked me if this was a bearish or bullish setup. This was a beautiful setup by CC Marks if she were to take this long, right? You have a ascending triangle, right? You have a break here, right? Break, retest, and a push higher. Literally, when she told me this contract was literally at like this candle right here, she was like, "Hey, is this a good setup to enter?" I was like, "Yeah, this is a good setup to enter." Would you enter short here? No, I would not enter short. Like, if you were to enter calls here, right, the stop loss would be literally at this low. Like, think about it. How tight is that stop loss? Literally, that's like a 20-cent top. And look at the risk to reward on this sucker. Like, let's say you to put the target here. You tell me, is that not like a good setup at all? Like, this is like an A+ setup. And I told her in the chat, I was like, literally, when the price got to here, I was like, CC, you know that these puts would have been like over 50%, right? If you took this trade, right? She's like, what? I was like, yeah, this is literally 50% off of just literally these 5-minute candles, like literally like these 1-minute candles. Like, that's how price moved. And I know that she would have capitalized on these calls here for sure. Right? Come on. This was a beautiful A+ setup right here. And if, let's say, she did take this trade, this was a 4.8 risk to reward setup, right? This, right? Right. So I want you guys to fish like this. You guys need to, sit and wait until something develops and then take the trade, right? And there's like a lot of times where you're gonna see stuff like this. You don't need to rush into a trade. You don't need to be the first one into a trade. It's always about being patient and waiting for a setup to present itself. Like me, I saw this setup on Tesla, right? Did I take it? No. I sat and waited on this setup. I didn't want to enter short, right? You're in a bull market right now. And let's say you enter short here, right? What is like literally the risk? Nothing. You're not going to make any profit here because you're entering right back into demand, right? If anything, they're going to squeeze you out, right? So that's just how things is. And just wanted to give you guys a better understanding of like what this is going to help you. So you see here, buyers were present, right, for a push higher, broke low, try to push price again here. You saw, then after this, sell instantly down, right? And then you see here, break lower, bounce, retest, failure, break, retest. So this is supply. I want you to see this. You see this. I want you to see this zone, how these zones act in the shorter time frame. So now you know where the sellers, where the buyers are potentially. So once you break below something, so now look, you see here, break. This is now green, right? Because you see buyers here, right? Until this is still green, right? Once it breaks below, this is now supply, right? All supply. You see here, this is now demand, right? You see a bounce here, right? You see a bounce here. This is demand, right? Retest here. Now rejection, supply, failure down. Retest this, demand. Break, hold, demand, right? Push higher, rejection, supply, right? This is now an area we can't break above. Retest demand, push higher. Now this, right? Now this is now demand, right? Break above here. Oh, this is seller. Sellers here. Can't break above. Can't break above. So they form pattern. Sellers, fighting off the bulls. Failure, right? Now, retest demand here, right? Push higher. Instantly rejection down, right? Reject it. That supply zone again. Let's draw this a little better so y'all can get a better idea. right? Retest this, failure, right? So now this is failure from buyers, right? Back down. Look at this then, right? Demand. Shorts got squeezed here, push low, push price lower, and we go to the 1 minute. Go to the 1 minute, right? With this bear trap, high, higher low, higher high, break the low, squeeze higher, broke above supply. Now retesting this demand, right? You see here, retest demand and price pushing higher, right? Hope this broke it down easier for you guys to understand and get a better understanding of like using supply and demand zones in the intraday time frame. And look at these, how many times they bounce in the zone, right? That helps a lot, right? Literally, look into this. I want you to snapshot this. Look at this, screenshot it. If you guys are watching this, screenshot this. See how many times we fail in this area, and before we even get the rip higher, like look at that, all right? Look at all these times that we failed here. It's just, it helps you so you can see the better idea of like supply and demand. So, and that adds as a supply and demand zone too. So, it's pretty much that really. I mean, we only took 2 trades today, and there were nice bangers for us uh, throughout the day. So, but I know it's kind of late. Kind of had things to do today, so I hope this was informative, and hope you guys make alongside us today. And if this you find this information useful, be sure to subscribe and you know find us on our Discord, and all the stuff should be in the bio below. And let's see my market analysis for SPY this upcoming week. So we are pushing really high here on SPY, and let's see here where we could potentially go, right? We could potentially go. So from we use this swing low here to this swing high, retest the dark pool, or we can use this swing low here actually. Swing low. Let me see this actually. Let me go back. Oops. See the swing low. Yep, swing low here. Then never reset. No, actually, this is the swing low here. Swing low here, right? Retest, break here. Now, we may see some area of resistance as we approach this high, right? So what I can see is maybe a dip low, probably a dip buying opportunity for us if we get one, maybe to like 496. That would be nice. 496 would be great, honestly. Right? 496 would be pretty darn nice. I would like that. Yeah, 496 would be great. So 495, 496. Yeah, that would be great. If we can, so basically, if we get a break lower here, that would be great to 496. 496, or if price, let's see how price reacts. So if price continues like this, lower. So price continues like this, break lower. Then we enter one try, failure, push higher. Or we can do basically like this. Enter calls, push higher. Or we can wait for a pullback. So if price wants to go even higher, or wherever the case may be, we may see some type of action like this. Push lower, right? And then pop, grind, pop, grind, pop, grind, right? You draw your trend line and then push this low of this trend line and rip higher. Or you can see something like this where it basically sits in a range after like this, right? like basically Thursday until end of day, and where it wants to make a new high and to push a new high. And basically something like this, 496 or whatever the case may be. That's our trade idea. Or it wants to continue higher, so it rips higher on this, makes a new higher high, shorts, traps the short, enter calls below this low, and push higher. There's numerous of ways to trade this. So, or it could do something like this where it loops in the sellers, right? Pops and grinds lower, right? You draw your trend line here, and then draw your trend line here, right? And when price breaks above, this is where you short, back down. 246, 70, 496 would be great. Something like that could play out. Any of those trades can play out like that. So just got to see how price moves. And we did see a pop and grind earlier today. So you see here, there's a pop and grind, right? Pop and grind. So you had a pop and grind, right? Pop, grind, 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 failure, stop, push the high, push that high here. If I can draw like a better line, which I may not be able to, and rips higher, right? Beautiful. So, happy Chinese New Year to those that are celebrating it this this Saturday. Thank you guys here for tuning in, and if you guys are in the group, we post our live market recaps and trade recaps literally below the profit section in the start here tab. So if you guys missed it, you can always view it on my YouTube channel. So be sure to tune in, and I hope to see you guys on Monday live alongside me. Have a great weekend. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.